You know what, Asylum Ghosts? Earlier I just had an extremely bad dream and I woke up having a nightmare and I realized I have no Freddy Krueger content on my channel. Well, that's all gonna change. Why didn't you guys tell me that I don't have any Freddy Krueger? Hey Asylum, you should get Freddy Krueger on your channel. I'm just joking. It's not your guys' job to tell me that, obviously. So let's rectify all that because we are going to be re-ranking. We are going to be ranking all 9 Nightmare on Elm Street movies of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And I'm back at it, Asylum Ghosts, once again, because 9, 10, I'm about to rank again. Coming in at number 9 spot, it's going to be Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Do I even have to explain why?
Hey! You forgot the power glove! Ow! Boing, boing, boing! I'll get you, my pretty! And your little soul, too!
All of the clips I just showed you. Freddy being a goofball, a cartoon character, he's a joke at this point. What happened? How did he go from this to this? Man, this film is horrible. You call this the final send-off, the ultimate send-off for Freddy's demise? This right here is a disgrace, is an embarrassment, and it is god-awful. You turn one of the most iconic slasher villains and turn him into a cartoon character. How can you do that? Not only that's disrespectful to the fans, but you're disrespecting the character of Freddy Krueger by basically saying, hey guys, don't get scared, no need to fear. This guy that's mostly burned, wears a dirty sweater, and has a razor hand glove isn't scary. He's just a silly cartoon character. That's what he is. No. I mean, yeah, later down the line between, I would say 3 through 5, he was a goofball, but he was still evil and twisted, whereas here, he's just played for laughs. He's a joke. It's not scary. Ugh, I hate the makeup in this, and I also hate this movie. So, with that, Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare is going at my number 9 spot. This movie is a true nightmare in itself. Pun intended.
Beat my high score.
Coming in at number 8, it's going to be... Coming in at number 8, it's going to be Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. This is not as bad as Freddy's Dead, but it's still not as good. I mean, this is where Freddy started to get extremely comedic. The makeup looks weird. It literally looks like bubblegum falling apart. The storyline is strange, having like this baby demonic version of Freddy Krueger to where he's afraid of his own mom. And the characters are annoying. Don't even get me started with the cartoon character that gets killed by getting turned into a comic book art, getting shredded apart. And also the MPAA got to this film and the kills are hacked to death and they're chopped down. Especially the Dan kill. That was probably the best kill, even though it's still good in the movie. In the MPAA screening, it looked way better, way more gruesome. So that's also another step down. The MPAA sucks. Overall, this movie is not quite as bad as the Freddy's Dead, almost said Dream Master, but it's still not as good. So this movie ranks here at number 8. At number 7 is going to be the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Now, I do think that this movie is not quite as bad as others say. I think that Jackie Earle's performance is one of the best highlights of the movie. I thought he did a pretty damn good job. And I love the cinematography, I love the dream sequence scenes, and I love the fact that they mention the fact that even though you're clearly sleeping throughout the day, you might not be aware of the fact that you are sleeping and walking in your sleep type thing. So that I thought was pretty cool. The fact that you weren't even aware of it, I really do like that idea. And I think that the score, the music, the cinematography, I love the cinematography, the aesthetic, the atmosphere was pretty good. And I think that the kills were pretty decent. Now, here are the negatives of this movie. I think that Freddy's makeup is trash. I don't like the digital look to the face. I think going with the realistically burnt look, you take away what makes Freddy iconic. If you remove the hat, sweater, and glove with this guy, he just looks like a burn victim. Whereas normal Freddy, like the one with Robert Englund, you take away the hat, glove, and sweater, it still looks like the Freddy we all know and love. Whereas this is just too overdone. Also, the CGI scenes, the recreation scenes of the original, it's cool and all, but come on, the scene where he's coming out of the wall in the remake, the CGI was so terrible, and how he was kind of like floating and he does the whole Freddy Krueger thing. Nah. The original was so effective. They literally took silver spandex and they stretched it across and had the actor leaning out and have him bounce back into shape. Way more effective. This is why practical is always better than digital. Right, The Fog remake. Another thing that I dislike about this movie is Nancy. I think Rooney Mara is a great actress, but it's disgraceful, disgusting, and it's an insult in how she portrayed this character in the remake. Slow, boring, too moody, and too not the character that you would want to spend time with on screen. Let's just say that. The final girl the main girl who will eventually be the final girl, turns out to be boring and very moody, and I didn't like Rooney Mara's performance. And also, last but not least, the worst part about this remake is the fact that they made Freddy a child molester. I know what you guys are going to say, but wait a minute, Asylum. In the originals, he also did the same thing. No, he was a child murderer. The child molestation side of things were always subtext. In this movie, they just throw it in your face, telling you that he was a molester, or is he innocent, or is he just getting revenge on these kids for lying about him, saying that he did this and that. When they reveal that, it's terrible and disgusting, because throughout the movie, they're not only expecting you to believe the fact that he was an innocent man, but they're trying to make you sympathize and root for a molester. No. This movie could have been something good, but because of that side of the story, this movie goes down at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Freddy's Revenge. I don't dislike this film, but I don't really like it all that much. The positives, I do think that the score is good. I think that Freddy's design is cool. It really is. He looks evil, mean, demonic, pissed off, and just straight up evil. And I love the kills in this movie, and I think the acting in this movie is pretty decent. However, now I'm not going to get into the reason why this film is at my number 6 spot. The main reason anyway. It's just, it does have those subtexts in the movie, and it seems like a huge distraction. It's like, I didn't come here to watch all that. I come here to watch a Slaughterfest movie. So the subtexts in the film that are pretty irrelevant in this movie is, I don't want to say that's the main negative, but it's not something that I expect from watching this movie, because there are scenes where it appears, then disappears, reappears, then disappears. You know what I mean? So the subplot of this movie I don't really like. And I also don't like the fact that Freddy pops out from the dream, goes from killing in the dream world to the real world. That completely breaks the rules on what makes the character of Freddy Krueger iconic. The fact that he stays in the dream world turns people's innocent, loving dreams into messed up, evil, demented dreams. That's our Freddy Krueger. He's not going to show up in public and murder a bunch of people because they're having a party. No, he's going to stay in the dream world. That's how it should have been, and that's how it's supposed to be. So that's another reason why I don't like this movie that much. Overall, it's a decent movie. It's okay. I can watch it. But because of those flaws, this movie is here at my number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. Now, I do enjoy this movie for a lot of reasons. Robert Englund's performance, the design of Freddy looks pretty cool, the aesthetic of the movie is pretty cool. I love the scene where, I shouldn't say love, but the scene where the character, what is her name, Brenda? I don't know her name. Debbie? I don't know her name. I think her name is Debbie. I'm pretty sure it's Debbie. Freddy just tortures her by putting her in the Roach Motel. When he rips her arms off, or like he breaks them the opposite way, and you got like these antenna, gooey, bug type legs coming out of the wounds, and the practical effects are amazing. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of The Thing, the way they pulled it off. And I think that the kills in this movie are mean or evil and mean spirited. I think that the imagery of this film was pretty cool. The main character of Alice I do like, but there are so many times where she kind of zones out and imagines something that's happening rather than it not actually happening. Can be overdone sometimes, but I guess that's the point of this character that they were going for. And Lisa Wilcox nailed the performance, so that's what keeps it strong. The negative of this film is killing off the main survival characters. You don't kill off Kincaid. A lot of people seem to give Tuesday Night a lot of crap for her performance as Tristan. Oh, I forgot her name. From Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But guys, it's not her fault. Patricia Arquette didn't want to come back, so Tuesday Night stepped in and filled in the role. And plus, she made a really cool theme song for this movie. So cut her some slack. Or cut her some slack. But the actors did fully admit that the chemistry was not as powerful as it was with Patricia Arquette, so I will have to bring up that. And the comedic Freddy is not too over the top, but it is toned down, and I love the nightmare sequences. But I don't like the fact that he's defeated by looking at his own reflection, seeing the evil, but the practical effects where the demonic souls are coming out of him looks pretty gnarly. So this movie I really do like. I can watch it, I love it, I dig it. But it's going to have to remain on my number 5 spot because of those flaws within this movie. At number 4 is going to be Freddy vs. Jason. I love and adore this movie. Finally, after 10 years of talk and wait, even though I wasn't around at that time, we finally got Freddy vs. Jason after it was teased at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, where Jason's mask is in cement dirt and Freddy's glove comes out of nowhere and drags his mask to hell. And I love this movie. I love the score, the pacing, the cinematography, Freddy's design. I even like Jason's design himself. The fact that he's there, he's my favorite slasher icon, so that makes it even cooler. The fight between the two are brutal and gory and painful and vicious, and they weren't kidding when they said Freddy versus Jason. They actually meant Freddy versus Jason, and it is perfect. Them ripping each other apart, Freddy cutting off his fingers, Jason's mask is getting clawed and scratched, and his mask is getting cracked, and they're both getting extremely battle damage, but it's hard to put Jason down. The iconic lines of Freddy in this movie, which a lot of people use it a lot, "There's only a face.
Only a mother could love."
And I thought the pacing, the characters, I really enjoy the characters in this movie. I love the cinematography, the score, everything about this movie, the practical effects. Unfortunately, the one thing that hurts this movie is the CGI digital effects with Worm Freddy, which is a callback to Jason Goes to Hell, I believe. That's what let this movie down. But overall, it's not going to stop me from putting it at number 4 spot or higher on my list, because I truly, really am fascinated with this movie. At number 3, your jaws are going to drop. It's going to be the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, this is the movie that started it all. I love the characters. I love the character of Nancy, played by Heather Langenkamp. The first time I mentioned her name, I believe. Robert Englund's performance is amazing. This version of Freddy is extremely evil. The fact that he's so much in the shadows, he's in the darkness, he's cackling, laughing, telling minimal jokes, but not too much. He's still being a jokester when he's cutting his fingers and cutting his torso, and there's worms coming out. The practical effects are great. Freddy's design is pretty cool. The score, the imagery, the practical effects of him coming out of the wall, which was terribly recreated years later. Everything about this movie I love. I do think it's really good, but the one thing that hurts this movie for me is the ending. When he pulls the mom through the door, you can tell that was a blow-up doll. That's what ruins it. Terrible. I don't know why they kept that in. And I think Wes Craven even fully admitted that he had wished that they'd never done that ending, that he wished that they would have done something different. Man, they should have thought of that sooner, because man, if you watch it today or even in slow-mo, it looks goofy as hell. So because of that, this movie is at my number 3 spot, but this movie is at my number 3 spot, and how awesome, amazing, perfect the storyline is, and how the characters are, especially with Robert Englund, how his version of Freddy in the first outing was darker, meaner. The practical effects of them climbing on the ceiling was pretty cool. And let's not forget Johnny Depp being dragged underneath the bed. Poor Johnny. Well, in his defense, you might as well let Freddy take care of you while you're in bed. Don't let this one do it for you. Right, Johnny? Now, this is still a Wes Craven film. At number 2 is going to be Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I never, ever understood the hate for this movie. Yes, it's not from the Hollywood universe, it's in reality. And that's what I love about it. That's what makes it scary. I think that the storyline that they were going for is perfect. Kind of like taking the storyline of Hansel and Gretel, but bringing it to life and making it more horror-esque. It's a lot better than what they do these days, turning Mickey Mouse into a horror movie type thing. You know what I'm saying? I think that Robert Englund's performance is great in this film. A lot of people might not like the look of his version of Freddy, but I dig the look. I really like how the glove is not a glove, it's kind of like a bone claw attached to it. And I think that the trench coat really adds to the look. I think that the cinematography and the imagery is great. Poor Rex. And I think that the acting was pretty good. I love the chemistry between Heather Langenkamp's character and Dylan. They're basically best friends, and Heather Langenkamp will do whatever she can to make sure nothing happens to him, and to the point where she gets hit by a car and just still keeps on going. Nothing's going to stop her. The fact that Freddy Krueger uses his own tongue and he wraps it around her face, which, fun fact, which was Heather Langenkamp's least favorite scene. I thought the kills were pretty decent, even though it's not as gory. They're still pretty okay. And I think that the score is pretty good. The storyline, the chemistry with the fictional characters to reality characters. This movie is cool because it recreates scenes from the original, but it doesn't full on recreate them. It's just like a nice little funny Easter egg homage to it, to whereas the remake, they just replicated them and failed at the same time. For people that's saying that this movie is bad and crap, I will never understand why. This is a good movie. This is a great movie. I don't know why people hate it. I love the fact that people seem to love this movie, like the one with Dylan's New Nightmare, with the fan film called Dylan's New Nightmare, and Dave McRae's playing Freddy Krueger. I will say, at least it shows that at least fans of, in the horror community can clearly see that Wes Craven's New Nightmare is a misunderstood masterpiece. And I think it is a misunderstood masterpiece because it doesn't try to tell a message. It's just telling the type of story on what they're going for and still keeping people in the seats. And it's an amazing popcorn fest slaughter movie that you will be happy with. With that, this movie is at my number 2 spot. At number 1, Asylum Ghosts, we're the Dream Warriors. And I forgot all the lyrics. I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. It is hands down my favorite in the entire franchise. Freddy Krueger is perfect. This is hands down the best Freddy Krueger in the entire franchise. The characters, I love all the characters. Kincaid is my favorite character of all time, at least in this franchise. I thought the practical effects were pretty cool. I thought that Freddy's jokes and humor were perfect between silly and goofy, but they're not too goofy. They're mostly silly, but they still are evil. He's doing this because he likes doing this, and it just shows how extremely evil he is. I thought the imagery was great. I love all the characters. I love the character of Patricia Arquette's character. I love Nancy's character in this. Kincaid is by far my favorite. It's a shame that he died. And also the mute kid Joey, including the guy in the wheelchair. But yeah, this movie is an amazing movie. I love this movie. Love all the characters. I even like the scene, "Let's get high." Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on with this movie, and I think it is a perfect Nightmare on Elm Street movie that has the best version of Freddy Krueger in the entire franchise. And with that, this movie is at my number 1 spot. And that, Asylum Ghost, was my personal ranking of all 9 Nightmare on Elm Street movies in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which I don't think they're ever going to make another one. What do you guys think of this ranking? Do you guys like this ranking? Think it's okay? Or do you disagree altogether, or do you agree with some of my rankings? Let me know in the comments below. Also, feel free to let me know what your ranking is in the comment section as well. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share to others who might be into videos like this. Alright then, Asylum Ghosts, sweet dreams, and happy nightmares. And remember, 9, 10, never sleep again.